Hello everyone. We live in a world where we are surrounded by cameras everywhere. On the streets, in shopping centres, transport, sometimes even in our own home. On the one hand, this is great. Criminals will think twice before breaking the law. But there's also a downside to this. Every weird thing we do, every ridiculous incident or failure can get recorded and posted on the internet. In today's video, you'll see a lot of situations like this. Admit it, you must be afraid the same might someday happen to you. Let's get it on. We are now looking at the stands at the stadium in Toronto, where the Invictus Games are held, a Paralympic competition for former and active military personnel, founded by this young man. Do you recognise him? Of course you do. This is Prince Henry Charles Albert David, Duke of Sussex. But the little kid on the left doesn't seem to be aware of all of his titles. She shamelessly steals popcorn from a member of the royal family and doesn't know that she'll soon be on almost every news channel. However, 2-year-old Emily is not a casual fan either. Her dad, Dave Henson, was honoured to represent the UK national team at the tournament as the captain. So, why can't the little girl get some popcorn? The prince seemed to agree and acted nobly, though at first he teased the thief a little and made some funny faces. We wonder how the prince would react if one of us were in Emily's place. An absurd accident can turn a beautiful sunny morning into a disgusting one in a matter of seconds. This is exactly what happened to the hero of this video. Being in an excellent mood, he went to work with a lot of food and aromatic coffee in his hands, but apparently the house didn't want to let him go. After the backpack got caught by the doorknob, the poor man dropped his lunch, tried to save the situation, but the second container also ended up on the floor. We won't quote what the man said in the end, we think you can guess what that was. He didn't know yet that his failure was captured by an outdoor surveillance camera, and the video would end up on the internet. Perhaps he'd be even more annoyed then. Our advice to you: if you go to a stadium to support your favourite team, don't let your mind wander off, and don't forget about manners either. At any moment, you could be caught on camera. Shall we show you how embarrassed you might otherwise get? Let's head to Sydney for a match of the Australian Football League. The cameraman was showing the funniest and most cheerful fans, and then suddenly stopped at this guy. He was so carried away by what he was doing that he didn't even notice the laughter of 30,000 spectators. Also, marketers rushed to put an advertising banner in the frame just below the guy's confused face. He probably still remembers this failure before going to bed. But no one is immune from such embarrassing situations. Even politicians in expensive suits who value their reputation. Democratic Party member George Butterfield is speaking in front of you, but we're interested in that man in the background. He's getting a bit of a taste of the contents of his nose. We feel sorry for the viewers who were having breakfast at that moment, and for you too, if you suddenly decided to have a snack at this moment. Movie characters often do illogical things. We all remember how Star-Lord freaked out seconds before the victory over Thanos, but real people sometimes behave just as recklessly. For example, this girl approached a car parked near someone else's house and tried to tear off the radiator grille. We have only one question: why? To sell it for pennies? Put it on her car? Make a barbecue on it? The mystery remained unsolved. The motion sensor worked though. The owner connected via a smartphone to the surveillance camera and asked the girl what exactly she was doing. As you can see, she didn't bother to explain. Taking out the cake is one of the most important parts of the wedding ceremony, so the festive treat is always handled with extreme care. But not in this case. Paying an extra few tens of dollars for shipping? No way! The girls decided that they could take care of it themselves. However, they chose the wrong car for that. On the way, dust and gnats will surely stick to the cake, and fingerprints will remain on the cream. Though one can say that this was supposed to be this way. But the drivers passing by managed to film what was happening on camera. We hope that the bride and groom will never see this footage. It is somehow not acceptable to eat during the lessons. You can only drink water or coffee. Don't bother proving us wrong though. If you start eating your food during the lesson, you'll most likely end up in the director's office. It's a different story when lessons are held remotely. No one will stop you from listening to the teacher and enjoying a juicy burger at the same time. Though it's better to turn off the camera at this moment. Otherwise, all your classmates and the teacher will find out about your nasty way of eating. The British say that curiosity killed the cat. In the Russian version of the proverb, a curious person loses his nose. Those are quite clear hints that you shouldn't be too nosy, don't you agree? However, this guy ignored these hints and looked under the fig leaf covering the naked David, and now all the visitors to the bar are aware of his tastes. You will never guess where you can witness something curious or weird. Many awkward moments happen even at ordinary gas stations. Together with the authors of this video, we'll observe this blonde girl. Types about blondes. Here's a dark-haired guy who's also at a loss. Where do you put the nozzle in this strange car? He even examined the trunk. After seeing that, do you still wonder why they put instructions even on shampoo bottles? But seriously, one could get jealous of these guys. They can afford to buy a car without even having to figure out how it works. Just take it like a cookie from a supermarket shelf. If you have a driving license, you probably remember how many annoying mistakes you made at first on the road. Your hands were shaking, everyone around you was honking, somebody help! But at least your failures didn't go public, while several million people learned about the epic fail of a woman driving this white SUV. After refueling at one of the stations in the city of Ma'anshan in eastern China, she decided to take the fuel hose and pistol with her as a souvenir. The employee tried to stop her but was knocked down, and the column fell on the ground. A real mini disaster, right? Turned out the driver had gotten a driving license not so long ago and was a little nervous. At this rate, she won't have her license for long. We all realize that everyone wants to get their share of fame, and today almost everybody shoots videos for Instagram or TikTok. But have you ever wondered what it looks like from the outside? We'll show you now. This guy saw two girls dancing in front of the camera on the balcony of a nearby building and scared them off with his scream.
TikTok! Woo!
Now they gotta start over. And here's another dancer caught on the camera of his neighbor. Perhaps the video would be impressive, but so far you must admit that it looks quite weird. Have you ever been caught by your family at night, standing in the dark near the refrigerator, smeared with cream and eating the last piece of cake? If you've always wondered how you looked at that moment, check out the following video. The author heard a suspicious noise in the kitchen. Turned out that this guy was secretly eating Nesquik with a spoon from a can. Why is it considered a crime when you're an adult? Now we see the father of the family eating the cake straight from the mold. He tried to explain to his daughter that he was only wiping the stove with a rag, but a piece of pie in his mouth that prevented him from speaking normally gave him away. And here we have a real crime. Someone pulled the filling out of the sausage rolls and left the bread on the tray. Let's find the most suspicious looking person in the room, and the case is solved. What will the accused say in his defense? Do you think this is footage from some blockbuster and the guy's hiding from his pursuers? Not quite, and he's unlikely to be playing hide and seek at that age. So what is going on here? Turns out that he's spying on his girlfriend. He thought that she was sitting in the car with someone else. We don't know if he managed to find out the truth, but he forgot the first rule of a spy. If you are spying on someone, make sure that no one is spying on you at that moment. Say what you want, but the most frustrating thing is to be caught on camera, not during some innocent mischief, but during a failure, even the smallest one. The colleagues will be teasing this girl for a very long time. But pay attention to the level of her professionalism. She didn't even drop her phone or interrupt the conversation. This is what a responsible attitude to work really means. And this guy ran as fast as he could to the gym to avoid getting soaked, but ended up in a puddle. He should probably work on his balance more. Admit it, you sometimes imagine yourself as the hero of a movie and try to act like one in real life. Everybody does it. Sometimes it works, and if not, the important thing is that no one notices. But this guy was not so lucky. He wanted to show off and tossed pizza on the roof of the car, but he made a mistake in the calculations. Turned out that his wife captured the fiasco and posted the video on the internet. How can you trust people after this? Remember how many vases, plates, and toys you broke and smashed when you were a kid? Must have been hundreds of them. But were any of them worth more than $1,000? Probably not. Well, unlike all of us, the hero of this video decided to play big. While parents were chatting with each other, two toddlers were playing at the Tomahawk Ridge Community Center in Overland Park, Kansas. Suddenly, one of them experienced a sudden love for art and decided to hug the sculpture Aphrodite de Kansas City, made by a local artist, Bill Lyons. Can you guess what came out of it? Thankfully, the kid was not hurt, but the armless Aphrodite could not survive the fall. The boy's mother was already preparing to say goodbye to several $100s. It becomes clear right away that she doesn't understand contemporary art. It turned out that the sculpture was worth $132,000. Most likely, the rest of the debt would have to be paid by the kid when he grows up, but everything worked out in the end. The damage was covered by the insurance company. As President of the United States, George W. Bush said a lot of funny phrases like, "I think we can agree the past is over," or "I know that human beings and fish can coexist peacefully." Back then, he didn't have the opportunity to hide from TV cameras, though it seemed that nothing could go wrong for Bush at Trump's inauguration ceremony. There was no need for speeches, all attention is focused on the other person. But the reporters instantly noticed that the politician struggled with his poncho and showed us this funny video. "Mr. Bush, you used to be the governor of Texas. How can you not know how to wear a poncho?" You're probably already past the age when your parents forbid you to jump on the bed or watch TV until late. But just in case, we remind you, if you decide to do some mischief, make sure that you won't get captured on camera. Left alone, this kid completely forgot about home video surveillance and decided to break all possible rules. He punched the sofa, crawled off it upside down, did a cartwheel, and then was surprised to find out how his parents busted him. And the parents of this kid discovered that he'd learned to use the trunk of a car as a ride. How come the kid's arms are that strong? Don't you think this dog is acting pretty weird, to put it mildly? We immediately remember Frank the Pug from Men in Black. Maybe this dog is actually an alien in disguise. We are certain that if at that moment you caught a dog walking upright in the act, it'd say, "No one will believe you anyway." Hold on a second. Do you want to see some crazy stories from real life? Nothing dull, only action, only adventures, chases and fights, love confessions and sudden betrayals. Don't believe us? Well, follow the link and see for yourselves. Our animation channel Private Diary reveals the deepest secrets. Don't forget to subscribe.